It is semi-finals time here at the J-Bay Open Stop 6 on the Samsung Galaxy Championship Tour, and we are going to see two surfers chasing their best finish here at the J-Bay Open, doing battle for a spot in the final. Hawaii's John Florence up against the Australian Josh Kerr, and as you can see, a few head-to-head matchups between these two in the past, and we're going to have a very deserving champ at the end of it all. But while we're at the break, John Florence took this wave. Ross Williams is with me. He's going to call this one.
Yeah, here we go. John realizing this wave is going to close out, Ronnie, so just one move. You have to capitalize on your waves.
Well, this man disposing of Kelly Slater earlier today. Josh Kerr on his first turn gets bogged down, working out for one of the best rail surfers on the tour, as we see John Florence on his second effort here, driving up into that first section and just loses it. Very uncharacteristic there. He's been super solid.
A little clumsy. He caught a rail before he even got busy. So right there was a quick look over the shoulder. So already he's going, am I on the right wave? Now he's going to finally commit and just catches a little edge right there on that inside rail. And that's all it takes. You know, J-Bay, you have to carry momentum through each turn.
Some lines marching our way. And on the inside, Josh Kerr uses his priority on the first wave of the set and drives up into this steep section. Just a transition turn to set up this inside line. A clean float as he drives off the bottom once again. Little layback jam, mixing things up nicely and getting a solid finish. And he likes it, standing tall.
Cake their way to get back into deep water so they don't bust a fin out. And so this is a nice wave here for Josh. Well surfed, but nothing too crazy down here. He didn't have that one heavy explanation arc. You know, a pretty solid layback snap there for Josh, and a clean finishing snap there where he released the fins.
Rail turns and combinations we've seen all year. But here we go, some movement in the lineup as John Florence again goes to that layback, big first turn option. Combos it up nicely with a couple of little snaps, setting up the inside now. Gets his board a little more vertical, a more crucial turn and a clean finish float on the inside.
So again, medium-sized wave for John, and watch as he tries to really make a statement. So first maneuver, he wants to go big, and he does it with a classic power move. Very nice rail surfing there from John. You know, we all fall in love with what he can do above the lip, but this kid right here has made a lot of improvements in the last couple of years with his power. And then again, keeping tabs on competition, John, trying to keep his rails clean and finish this wave off. And he did a great job with that. Here's his power move. Watch that rail on the inside. Beautiful surfing there from John. And again, he kind of leaned back and he held up his body with that back arm. So great technique from John. Whipping around. He's always very whippy, just like Felipe himself. Arguably the best wave of this heat. You can see the size. Well overhead for Josh, but not an easy wave to figure out because how fast it is. So there's a momentum and a speed. Josh really trying to keep that pace. Leans into a really nice carve, but Josh struggling to get that board on rail. You can see that board flattened out. If you're in love with rail surfing, with carves, with that traditional, beautiful power base, this is the wave to do it. And speaking of that, watch the attention of this first maneuver. So a couple of things are happening there with that carve. First of all, he's really doing his best to grab the judge's attention. And also, he's keeping a good beat on what's on offer for that wave. You know, if John went to the air, he would have been forcing it. You know, it didn't really call for an air, did it? That was a perfect face to just rip into a strong carve.
Sorry, Ross, as we have another look at it, I want you to break it down, because you're 6'0", same height as John Florence. And on a day like today, coming up against a shorter competitor, you might think that the advantage in these smaller conditions could be lost for John, but it's not the case.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to how comfortable John is with his equipment. He's on a 6.0. Let's see, it's a John Pizel Bastard. It's a model that he's been very, very familiar with for a couple of years now. So because his boards are a little wafier, you know, they're thinner, they're narrower, it allows him to get that extra torque, that whip right in a pocket. Whereas Josh, you can tell when he surfs, he likes to plane. He likes to sit high on the surface of the water and look for that pop, that air.
Well, Josh Kerr now on a smaller wave really has to unleash here in order to fetch himself the required score. A 6.78 is what he was after prior to John's last wave. And he is taking this one through to the inside. Hoiks that air reverse and almost loses it, but hangs on, throws the arms up. That feels good. a bit more risk. Will he get the payoff? Taking unique lines to set up big moves when this reeling right-hander does slow down. Let's watch John's approach here as he looks to drop a 5.83 and move further ahead of Josh Kerr. Bit of foam on the face. He's setting up for something big. We might see an aerial from the Hawaiian. He lines up that section and he absolutely stomps it.
He did just that. So again, right here, nice car for for John, but he knows that he doesn't really have a solid score. So now you can see his eyes. Look at his attention, looking for that ramp, and a tricky one. He's got that offshore wind, so he has to huck the tail towards the beach and get that rotation. And as you mentioned, Ron, he had zero water to work with, so he only had a couple of seconds at best to finish that move.
You better land on your feet, because if you don't, you're going to land on muscles on the inside there. And here's Josh Kerr on the replay.
Better opening turn for Josh. I like that. He got quite a bit of rail on the water, so a beautiful snap. But again, for him, if he wants to get a solid score, he's going to have to finish it off with an exciting move and another whippy air there. So maybe not as good as John's air, but I think he had a better opening move, which, you know, again, I feel like that could turn the heat for him. So nice flow here, but again, nothing really crazy until he gets to the end, and he's going to huck that tail towards the beach. There's that front foot sliding to the nose, Ronnie. And so agile for him to pull that rotation off right in that tight little curve. He's got no room for error.
Well, just 5 seconds remaining. Josh Kerr trying to get to his feet before the hooter sounds. He'll do that. And let's see what he can throw at us here. He's got a lot of speed. A racy float to get started. Nice little climb there. He needs a huge number, though. He's going to need a monster aerial on the closeout as he races through to the inside. Big alley-oop. He'll stick it. Will it be enough? Well, the number has dropped to 5.17. Not enough for Josh Kerr, but he still counts J-Bay as his best CT performance in 2016. He's going to be making a big jump up the ratings. Meanwhile, your new world number 2 is into the final and will close the gap